Welcome to this week's Chinuch Hashkafa message, is Parshas Vayeira. In this week's Parsha, we know that Hashem appears to Avraham Avinu to visit the sick, to do Bikur Cholim, the third day after he had Bris Milah. We learn from here the greatness of the mitzvah of Bikur Cholim and so on and so forth. But as Rashi points out already at the beginning of the Parsha, Yom Shlishi Lemilasa, it was the third day after the Bris, and Hashem came to visit him. And the famous kasha that all the Mefarshim ask is, why did Hashem wait till the third day? And in the Mefarshim there are many different tirutzim, many answers to this question. I'm going to share with you a vart from the Rebbe that is not just a nice way of answering the question, but also creates a fundamental discussion around our approach to Torah and mitzvahs. A very important lesson to discuss with our children around the Shabbos table. We know two principles. One principle is that in Bikur Cholim, when a person visits the sick, the Gemara tells us that we actually remove some of the sickness. In Hashem's case, as the Ramban points out, when Hashem visits the sick, as he did with Avraham Avinu, he took away the sickness completely. The Ramban says he healed Avraham Avinu completely. The healing came through Malach Raphael, but it was Hashem visiting him that made him completely well. That's the first idea. The second concept is that mitzvahs need to be performed in the natural world, by nature, not through miracles. It is not good when a mitzvah comes to us miraculously. Part of the reason for that is because our whole purpose in life is to elevate the natural world, to elevate the teva. But part of the consequence of that idea, that mitzvahs need to come to us in a natural way, part of the result of that is that mitzvahs require effort, investment. Sometimes it means paying a lot of money. Some mitzvahs are expensive, especially if you want to do it behidur. And sometimes it needs us to be inconvenienced. Mitzvahs don't always come, halachos don't always create convenience for us. Sometimes we have to adjust things. Sometimes we have to rearrange our life in order to fulfill a halacha, to be mekayim a mitzvah. Mitzvahs need sometimes discomfort. Now, of course, all the ways of Hashem are pleasant, but sometimes it requires us to put in effort and to be inconvenienced and maybe feel a little bit uncomfortable in order to be mekayim a mitzvah properly. Therefore, Avraham Avinu had gone through Bris Milah. The natural consequence of Bris Milah, especially for an adult, is discomfort, is pain that takes time to recuperate from. And had Hashem come the first day, he would have healed Avraham Avinu right away miraculously, and Avraham Avinu would not have had the natural discomfort that is required when you have a Bris Milah. The normal discomfort is, as we know from other sources, that it takes about 3 days at least. And therefore Hashem only came on the third day to heal Avraham properly, but that it shouldn't be completely supernatural. Now, this idea is such an important idea to discuss nowadays. We live in a society where everyone wants everything to come easy. We don't like to be inconvenienced. We don't like to feel discomfort. That's the society we live in. That's the generation that we live in. And to a great degree, it's crept in. It's crept into Torah mitzvahs as well, where everything can be bought. Shabbos can be bought in 10 minutes. Chanukah menorah you can just buy ready to make, instead of pachkinzach with the oil and pouring the oil. You can just buy these things where you just take off the top and it's all ready to light. You put up a sukkah, pop-up sukkah in 5 seconds with a schach mat, and if you have your minhag to do decorations, you don't even have to make them yourself. You can buy them. This came to me once when I saw an advertisement for someone selling, and I'm not trying to take away business from anyone, but when I saw that they were selling salt water for Pesach, I mean, seriously. Can we not even afford the effort of making our own salt water? Or selling the pieces of chametz before bedikas chametz. It used to be that the bedikas chametz was the preparation. We put in effort. We had to find 10 pieces of bread when the house of Pesach dik and wrap them up. That's an important part. The hachana for the mitzvah, the preparing for the mitzvah, the effort in the mitzvah. Sometimes mitzvahs are hard. They come at inconvenient times. So this is such an important thing to talk about with children, and maybe this is not such a good idea. We need to discuss that mitzvahs are the center of our lives. Everything else has to come around the mitzvah. Not that we have a routine of life to make sure that everything in our life is comfortable and falling into place, and only then the mitzvah comes, if convenient, and in a way that's convenient. We have to be ready to be inconvenienced, or put in the effort, or feel discomfort, or pay money for a mitzvah. And of course, as parents, we need to reflect, are we setting the right example? Do we put in the effort when it comes Sukkot to go look for a lulav and esrog, not just to run into a store and buy one quickly, a ready-made set? Maybe Hanukkah, we shouldn't necessarily get those ready-to-make things. Maybe we should put in a bit more effort. Do it with the children. Do we sigh or krechts or sort of show unhappiness when halachas or mitzvahs mess up our plans? Or do we show happiness that we're ready to do everything to Mekayim Hashem's mitzvahs, even when it's hard? These are the kinds of thoughts and reflections that we have to have, and these are type of the discussions that we have to instill in our children, because that builds that yesoid, that foundation, that learning Hashem's Torah and keeping Hashem's mitzvahs is front and center of everything, and it needs to be done with the proper effort, even when it's a little bit hard. That's a very important foundation to build from a very young age. Have a wonderful day, and everyone should have a good Shabbos.